and welcome Saturday night. As I just want to check in, make sure everything's going good for all you YouTubers and Rumblers. I hope you can hear me okay. There's a washing machine. Everything's kind of not working today. We have a washing machine back there, a dishwasher, and TV's going, and my background blur isn't working. Boy, nothing's working out right. Let me figure out here. Let's see if I can get this a little better like that, maybe. I don't know. Anyways, Saturday night, 8 o'clock. Glad you could make it. And thank you to the restreamers, the replayers, if you're here. And let's see, who do we have? Well, PD came in very early, and Slidey Pie is here, and Shane Sousa, my ever-loyal mod. Solanas Parlor, graphic is splendid. Well, we're going to talk about that in a second. But Vice Baby, good to see you. Colorado Mountain Girl. And Bella the Bayou over on Rumble, of course, my just anchoring the way over there. Sadie's here. Danielle, hello, Danielle. Let's see. Kathy Trout, hello. Good to see everybody here. So, yeah, I had a little thought, and I don't know if I still have the thought. I set this stream up. Let me see, is this okay? Let me see if I can get this lighting a little better. But maybe I should change this. See if this will work. Is that a little better? Anyways. Oh, you're welcome, Vice Baby. Vice Baby ordered a book, and so I threw in an extra book for him because, of course, he's Jeff's son, and Jeff would want you to have that. So, yeah, I had this thought, and I was contemplating. I was a little thoughtful, but I don't know if I still have the thought. But we'll talk about it anyways. I'll see if I can get rolling on that thought now that I haven't been thinking about it. So this is what I do is like I have, and if you read Prepare, you might know this little hint, is I have yellow stickies. And what I do is I write down the thought on the yellow sticky, and then I forget about it. You write down enough thought on the sticky to remind you of what you were thinking about to remind you later. Well, I didn't do that, but that's what I do to try to remind myself. So this is like a little yellow sticky note. Yeah, good to see you. JKD Buck 76 and Lily. Yeah, so and I'll tell you a couple things I have cooking. One is that I finished Space Pirates of Andromeda by John C. Wright. So I will be, hopefully John C. Wright has agreed to come on and we'll talk about his book and his new series, which is basically a Star Wars kind of idea, but it's what Star Wars should be. John C. Wright was so disappointed with where Star Wars went, and so he decided to write his own, and he's a great writer. And I've had him on. He's a very staunch Catholic, very smart guy with lots of strong opinions, and I just come on and let him go, and I hope he'll come on again and promote his books, and if so, we'll listen to what he has to say. So that might be upcoming. I have two topics. The first is the employment issue, the idea, and the second is Scooter and my free ebook that I'm thinking about doing. So hey, Peaches, good to see you, Peachy Peaches. Yeah, well, let's see. So what was I thinking about this morning? Well, I was thinking about how job connects with identity, and how, it really about who you are. And I've written Prepare to kind of contemplate individual freedom and what do I value. And actually, if you guys want to follow along, Digger 420 is reading Prepare, the latest version of Prepare, cover to cover. And she's done part 1 and she's into part 2 now. And that book is kind of my most serious philosophical book. And it's sort of a contemplation on what do I value, and it's individual freedom and truth is what I came down to. And that was a very important book for me to write because it really made me think about kind of life philosophy and identity. And then, of course, when I had the unpleasant, to say the least, job change recently, it was I guess I had that to lean back on. But, I will say that I was working for 20 years to be the best at what I did. And I became that. I mean, I worked very hard to be, what I was aiming for. And that was taken away from me. And that was very hard because a lot of your identity gets wrapped up in what you do in your job. And Danielle says, most important book I've ever owned. And thank you. I know she's a big fan, and I keep her filled with the latest, right? So when that happened, I was basically shut out of the career that I had been building towards for 20 years, really. And it took away a lot of identity. It took away a lot of who I defined myself as, I guess, or what your purpose is. And so then you have to really reconsider, well, what is your purpose? And Danielle knows, as you know, with Prepare, right? Life flows in one direction. And this is something that we need to remember, is that there's really no going back. You can't undo what's been done to you or the path that life has taken, right? Journey is ever forward, and there's no reverse, there's no stop. And so you have, and therefore you have to just kind of live with the cards that you're dealt. It's a lot of part of Brucey, right? The Serenity Prayer, the things you can't control. And the things that happened to me, I couldn't control. They're outside of my control. And I had to accept them and move forward regardless, right? But still, when you build your identity around a career and a career choice, and like, that's who I am, I'm this expert on this area, and then having that taken away, it really shakes you up. And I have another friend who I can't identify, but I've got a very close relationship with them at this point, and I'm very pleased to have made a new friend through adversity. But they're going through something similar to me, and they're taking away from her what she has built up, and she's facing the same kind of identity crisis, because it's like, I'm this, I've defined myself as this, I'm great at this, and then all of a sudden someone takes it away from you. So who are you now? And I actually have another person that is also sort of close within my circle. I'd say sort of, acquaintance more than a friend, but somebody who's close to me, who has had the same thing happen. That the job was taken away from them. And so you have to contemplate, like, well, who are you? Are you the job? Is that what you are? And when you rebuild yourself, you have to rebuild yourself into this new identity and to a new purpose. You have to kind of repurpose and retool. And it's harder as you get older. But retooling yourself to visualize yourself into a new place, it's very hard, very hard. Now, first thing you need to do is think about things outside of job. So what is it that is you outside of your career and outside of what you do? What you do is one thing, but who you are is something else. And, for example, I had my faith and my son really to start with, to foundationalize, right? So, okay, I'm a dad, and I'm a Catholic, and I'll start with those two things, right? And build off that. Then I'm a husband, right? Or, and then say, okay, well, I'm an honest person. My values, I'm going to reaffirm my values. I'm an individual. I'm a creative person. I believe in art. And I'm starting to get a little of that back. I mean, I really got knocked down, and I lost a lot of my creative energies because I was injured by those very creative injuries. Right? That was the weapon used against me. But I've gotten some. I'm starting to get a little more creative, and we'll talk about that in a second. And it's like art is what you have to do. I explain this to a lot of people that aren't artistic types. It's art. You are compelled to do your art. Um, but yeah, I had a lot of real change in who I was. So I just want to have kind of a discussion with you because I think a lot of people might relate to this because a lot of people face job change, maybe undesired job change. And then it's like, okay, well, job is something you do. It's not who you are. Oh, Daisy's here. Daisy, hi, Daisy. We'll talk. You're in the right time. We haven't talked about you yet, but we're going to be talking about Daisy in a few minutes. Thank you, Shane. And that's why I'm sharing this because there's not a lot of good conversation in the world. There's all this media and BS. So where can you think about these things? And it is, you want to be good and you want to do the best you can at your job. But is that all you are? Because like when you retire, I think you might have the same sort of thing. So you retire and I was this guy. I was a fireman or I was a policeman or I was a trucker or whatever. And now you retired and now that part of your identity is no longer kind of part of you. Well, I used to be this. But is that all you are, is what you do? I don't know. I've been thinking about this topic a lot because I have several friends that are sort of in the same position that I've been counseling because I've been through this and it was something that was ripped away from me and threw me down and it was taken away from me. So it's like, well, am I still that or am I something else? Or, there's a new chapter. There's a new chapter in life. So you got to turn that page, even if you don't want to. That's the fate that we're given. And you turn that page and you got to build something fresh and build something new and build a new identity, build a new purpose and ever forward, right? And a lot of it's faith. And I think the serenity prayer is helpful because the serenity prayer is those things you can't control and those things you can. Well, sometimes you can't control the direction of your life. You're just in the stream, in the slipstream. I don't know if this is making sense to you. But maybe we can come back to that if this isn't something you're interested in. I don't know. I will say a couple other things. So speaking of slipstream, I'll share a couple more things I've got. And that's like, I got this new Jethro Tull. Look at this thing. It's like massive DVD set, CD, DVD live set, remastered by Steve Wilson. I can't wait. I've got to get my CD player, DVD player working, but yeah. Upon the Horizon, thank you for being here. And always a wise man and love hearing your voice on our chat. With a job where you invested time and energy towards and counting on a particular future within an organization you're invested in, a lot can be stripped away from someone with a job loss. That's right. And, I didn't just have a job loss. I had a forced career change. Very hard. So anyways, let me see. I wanted to, since Daisy's here, and I don't want to, Bore, that's right. See, there's a Jethro Tull fan. I wanted to tell you a little. So I'm working on My Difficult Dog, which is up here, right? And I've read it I think it was last stream. I did a reading and we had a little announcement. So that's still available over at stevegossie.com for your pre-order your hardcover first edition autographed copy, which is going to be My Difficult Dog. And my artist Anna is working on it. And that's up. I really want to make sure that it's done exactly the best I can possibly do with all I can, right? And I'm not certain I like the fonts that are in it. So I have my buddy Grok on standby when the final product comes in to see whether or not I need to do a little more work on the fonts and the graphics, but we'll see. Anyway, that one is coming soon, probably within the next 3 weeks or so. And then the other thing is what I'm going to do is I have written another story. And like I said, I'm slowly getting back a little inspiration. And I wrote out a story, kind of an inspired story in February called Scooter Asks, Where is God? And it's about Scooter the cat. And Scooter is asking about where is God, which a lot of children do and adults do, people, and they want to find where is God. And so Scooter is a real cat, and he's my friend Chris's cat. And he was probably the greatest cat of all time. And Daisy is in the chat here, is illustrating it for me. So I sent her, hopefully we got a little agreement. I'll show you, there's Scooter the cat. That's one of Daisy's illustrations. Isn't that cute? So she's gonna illustrate it. It's a little short story about Scooter the cat, and then Daisy volunteered to illustrate it for me. If you remember Daisy, she was a runner-up in the My Difficult Dog competition, and she is a daughter of a fan. Well, she's a fan, and she's a daughter of a fan. I don't know. And she volunteered to, she wanted to illustrate something, right? And I guess that they like my work. So she sent me some drawings, and she did so well in My Difficult Dog that I said, well, you're a runner-up in the My Difficult Dog, but I've got this short story. Would you be interested in illustrating the short story? So I think we're going to come to an agreement. I sent her mom a contract, an agreement to make sure that everything's good and legal and all. But she's working on drawings. If you go to her channel, she's actually drawn 2 of those drawings. I'll give you a little sneak peek. Just watch up in the corner here. All right. Here's a little sneak peek of some of the Scooter. Isn't that cool? And so she's doing that. And hopefully we're going to be able to put out a short story with illustrations. And the idea, what I want to try to do is I'm going to send out everybody who's bought a book from me at stevegosney.com, everybody who's bought from me, who's on my mailing list, right? I'm going to send a free ebook of Scooter Asks, Where is God? And it'll be illustrated ebook. I'm going to have it put together. It'll be real professional. And then it's sort of a gift to everybody who's supported me throughout the thing. And it's also, what motivates me to write is because I think I have something to say. And it's a Christian book about a question that a lot of kids have, and trying to answer it in sort of a way that relates to children with cats and a kitty cat going through and asking these questions. So that's what the purpose is. Now, I may repackage it. I've got kind of an idea that I'll do a children's story compendium. I've got a couple ideas. Maybe I'll put it as an ebook on Amazon, or I don't know what I might do. But right now, the idea is I want to give it away as a gift to anybody who buys a book from me at stevegosney.com. They will get it free. And then how it goes from there, I'm not sure. But Daisy's doing that, so that's pretty cool. And that's what the intro logo. Did you see the intro logo here, like this one here? See, that's Daisy's first illustration she did for me. Hey, Kaiser, good to see you. Pat Hacker. So those are things that are going on. You see what else is happening. So we've got John C. Wright, got Daisy and Scooter, and we've got, I've redone all of my books now, so that all of my books, I think, have been redone front to back through Grammarly to get a Grammarly Rise. I'm redone all the covers. I think I've got hard covers on all of them. The only one that's really difficult right now is Brucey because of the cover things. So, what else is happening? Yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking about this. So identity and job. Let's go back to that. You guys have any ideas on this? Come on, chat. What do you think? Because if you were forced to make a career change, if you were invested, like I am this, I am, and then all of a sudden that was taken away from you. I'm not just talking a job, I'm talking about a career. You've chosen a career and that's been ripped out of you. Then how would that affect you? It's one thing to lose a job, it's another to lose a career. I don't know. It's quite a contemplation. It's quite an awesome thing that I've been through, and I have a friend who's going through the same thing. I don't have a lot of great wisdom tonight. That was sort of it. Yeah, this is right. This is right, and that's exactly what I've done. And it has, and I've sort of, it's changed me a lot, and I'm not sure exactly how, but I'm not sure exactly how. Yeah, and this is right, Slidey Pie. You're exactly right. I think men think their identity is the work they do. That's true, especially men. I think men are more susceptible to this, although I think women too, but men more susceptible to this type of thing. Yeah, I mean, come on. Do the people need to educate this person on what's happened to me? Um, I would ask why. Yeah, well, there is that why, and this is the second time I've been through this in my life, and that is um, when and it's I talk about this in Prepare, and that is when you have when you do something wrong. Like one of my friends who's lost his job was because of something he did that was wrong, and he knows it was wrong, and he lost his job, and he's contemplating but it's like, okay, I can address, this is the issue. I'm a good person over here. I'm good at my job. I'm good at this, but I can replace my job and I can continue on my career. But the problem that he had was self-inflicted. And so that's actually a lot easier to deal with. When you lose something like a job and you didn't do anything wrong, that's much harder to deal with. And when you lose a career and you didn't do anything wrong, that's ridiculous. So yeah, and Upon the Horizon, we've talked quite a bit. I've talked with Upon Horizon offline, and yeah, he lost his career for reasons outside of his control, unjustly, I would say. 37 years in the restaurant business, building a future for profit, from sharing for his staff, and they took it away from him. I mean, he's been through that. You know what I'm talking about, right? Exactly. Your dad, Chrome Midnian says, Dad was an architect, definitely a big part of his identity. I couldn't imagine him doing anything else, right? And Daisy, drawing is what I do, and drawing is what I have to do because I've used so much time practicing it. If I couldn't make a manga, I would be a different person, basically. Yeah, that's an artist. So Daisy, you are talented. I will say I like your work, and I'm proud of you. So I'm really happy. I hope we got to get that contract signed. I got a contract here, Mom. I feel like, um, let's see. So share this with me, Pawn, because I know he's been through this too. I'm struggling indefinitely as a big truck mechanic and not being able to extricate myself from the debt of a house, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. Kaiser says, Kaiser, good to have you here as always. Questioning my purpose is what led me to deciding to write my book. Interesting. It's a question of what legacy will I leave behind? Come what may, I have to try. Well, and if you're inspired and you have ideas, and I'm looking forward to reading your book, then then do it. Absolutely. Expand. Is it, I mean, do you think about it? Do we live life just to go to work and make money and then come back and go to sleep and then get up and repeat and then that's it? I don't know. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't exactly talk about it in depth because there's still stuff outstanding that is yet to drop. But I appreciate it. I appreciate the thought. Maybe in the future, I have it all down, and I don't know. I will just say that it was very, very wrong, very, very wrong, and evil, um, and painful. Uh, Pat Hacker says you have to find a new niche. Hopefully, something you're passionate about. I went from library work to horticulture. Interesting. Yes. China actually owns the plaza I was in, and they systematically evicted every business. Long story though, Steve. Yeah, yeah. He's upon the horizon has had a tough time. So Fondin's here. Pat Hacker to quit Joseph Campbell. Follow your bliss. Yeah, that's true. But I've thought about this too, and maybe it's the experience I've had, but was it a little twinkle of idealism that happened in America between say the 50s and 60s when we could live on one income, and you had one spouse stay at home and raise the kids and the other went to work and had a career, and they were loyalty and they put in their years and they got retirement, and and that was sort of the life was certain. Is that I don't think that's possible anymore. I will say number one, um, I think there's no loyalty on the part of companies. uh, there's no, this is upon the right. It's nothing new. This is the old. This is what happened before, right? That I'm recovering from. I'm trying to. Yeah. So is that America even a possible anymore? Yeah, the Ward and June Cleaver ideal, right? I don't know. I mean, now it's like everybody's a two-income household, and we work all the time, and it's almost required. I mean, the housing in Miami is insane. I mean, I think I'm doing pretty good, but I can't afford housing here. How can anybody afford housing here? So everybody's working, and now it's like now we're slaves to the system, and they're squeezing the maximum amount of us for rent and for payments, and for now we got to have a car so we can get to work, and the car costs money, and you got to have a house, you got to have this, you got to have that, and then you're just going, and it's just you're just working really hard. Is there a purpose there? I was almost thinking, like, would we give up um, a piece of that high income so that we would have more of a steady life? Like, in Europe, I know they have the Europeans will take a month off. They'll have a month off, and they'll travel the world. They'll come to the United States. They'll travel. They'll experience life. They'll enjoy life outside of just the work. And on the one hand, it's what makes America great, because you can work as hard as you want to get ahead, and and live the American dream, buy your house and have a place and establish retirement. But I don't know. I mean, is that what's going on now, or are we gotten to the point now everybody has to work, and they have to work themselves to death, and they have no time for any free space? I don't know. Yeah, and mark of reality. No loyalty from companies, spouses, or communities. Right. I mean, should I be loyal to a job? I mean, I worked for, what is it, 20 years for the state. The state had no loyalty to me. I mean, I was a public servant, and I sacrificed a lot so that I could be the best public servant I could be, and gave back to Florida, and there's no loyalty there. And companies, is there loyalty there? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, you do something wrong. Like, I had a friend who just, like, they did something wrong, and boom, you're out. It's okay. Well, then, if that's the case, then what should be the response of the average worker? Um, yeah, I don't know. So Danielle asks, I think what happened to you made you more aware of things going on spiritually and mentally with yourself. Broken down but not completely ignited. More of the fighting you. I don't know. I think we need to talk. I mean, personally, um, I think I'm coming to some conclusions about where it's moved me, but um, yeah, this is a good idea, actually. Those are those large RVs, which are nicer than apartments. Get one of those and go camp near the job site. I love it. That's a good idea. Um, yeah, and then some people are commenting. I think Slidey Pie said this too. Yeah, everyone's disposable. And see, see, I think this is something we need to talk about, like between you and me and the people in this company. Loyalty doesn't exist anymore. David says, I stayed at a job that was overworking me because I felt I was doing what was important to do. And then upon the horizon says the economy got ruined with GATT and NAFTA. You see, there's a thread here. I think we're tapping into the same thing. Like if we're disposable at our jobs, what should be the proper response as us as individuals to a system that just doesn't really care about you? Its interest is to squeeze the maximum out of you. I don't know. But let's talk about it, right? I mean, who is looking out for us? Are we looking out for us? I don't know. I mean, you could say, well, there should be a government mandate of something, right? But then that impinges on individual freedom too. It's a tough problem. Tough problem. I don't know. I just wanted to share this with you because I think we need to have a little thinking about this in conversation, not have it politicized or demagogued or I don't know what's the right word. But people don't talk honestly to each other about these topics, or even think about. Do we even think about it? And I think we're all kind of experiencing it. The lack of loyalty from the system. There's no institutions that have loyalty to us. And if that's the case, I don't know. I'm just throwing out thoughts. Anyways, maybe we'll just leave it there. What do you think? I'm gonna put you on over. Who should we raid? We're gonna do the Ghazni raid thing. Let's see who's playing here. We've got potentially criminal Sean. Let's go. How about potentially criminal Sean? Yeah, I think maybe so. We get that. Flux. Yeah, she's playing video games. Or Flux. We'd make an impact with Flux, but let's see. Video subscriptions. You see, let me get this up here. Hold on a second. I'm going to do a redirect and we'll do a raid. All right. I don't know. I've been thinking about these things a lot lately. Thank you, Slidey Pie. Very kind. We're going to do customization and redirect. We'll add redirect. Okay, so who do you want? Do you want Flux or potentially criminal for a raid? Potentially criminal's got a lot of people, so he might not even notice us. But if we raid, but he's talking about some defamation suit, which is always interesting. Oh, cool, we can do the baby goat cam. And then Flux has got Monster Hunter Wilds. Sean, okay. All right, we're going to go Sean. All right, so when we go over to Sean, you got to say what? Ghazni raid. All right. Potentially criminal Sean. All right. Well, you guys have a good night, and I'm glad we touched base. Go check out steveghazni.com. Get your My Difficult Dog. If you've bought a book, I'll be sending you a free ebook of Scooter the cat pretty soon, and we shall see. All right. You guys have a good night.